So let me pass this out. It's called Forming Operational Definitions. And I took the words from the chapter, or related words to the chapter. It's actually a vocabulary exercise to introduce the chapter. Here was. Shayla, did you get one? All right, let's look at this. We're going into chapter 19, which is on bacteria and viruses, and then we're going to be doing disease, and we're probably going to do some PowerPoints on diseases. I know, but we have all these computers in here, so we have an advantage over the other bio classes. All right, so a lot of the vocabulary words that you guys get at science are words that have been put together from Greek and Latin bases and roots, and they've had things added to them, the prefixes or the suffixes that give them meaning. And so what I've given you is some examples at the top of this, because once you understand what the root word means and you understand what's being added to it, then you can construct the meaning just from the word alone, and you don't have to use your glossary, which is an advantageous thing when you're on a test and you don't have the glossary. So anytime you see the prefix A in front of it, it's kind of like English class for a little bit here, it means against or opposite. So apathetic, path means feeling, and is not. Anti means against. Bio, biology, bio, study of life. Auto, anytime you see that, it means self. Bi is 2, tri is 3, quad is 4. We can keep going with those. Endo always means internal. So anytime you see endo in front of something, you know it's talking about something internal to the structure. X means external. EU means true. So we have the word eubacteria. True bacteria. Homo means same. Hetero means other. Meta is middles. We have metaphase as part of mitosis and meiosis. Peri means around. So we have the pericardium, that's part of the surrounding of the heart, that is around the heart. Pro is first, kilo is final, tri is 3. On the suffixes, they're listed there. Let's look at some of those roots, though. Is once you see AER, you know it's talking about air. You know it's talking about oxygen. And we have a word in this chapter that's dealing with that. Archae means ancient. So anytime you see that in front of a word, you know it's talking about something ancient. Cardio is heart, chemo is chemical, cyto is cell, cytology, the study of cells, dem, people, so democracy, derm is skin, dermatitis is an inflammation of the skin, duct, hydra, karyo means nucleus, morph means shape, obligate means requiring, parasito is parasite. We'll be talking about parasites in chapter 19 and chapter 20. Path is feeling. Photo is light. Photosynthesis, synthesis using light. Retro, sense, spire, breathe. Inspiration, expiration. Those are in the middle of that word. I gave you some examples. So let's look at the bottom in the table. So what does archaebacteria mean? Just by looking at the two words. Just by using the two words. Ancient bacteria. Do you need to go to the glossary for that definition anymore? No. Eubacteria. Eu means true. So that's what I want you to put in the table. The meaning of the word parts. Ancient bacteria. And by ancient bacteria, that tells us that the bacteria that evolved first, that's what they think it did. Prokaryote, pro means first. Karyo means nucleus. Now we know that means they don't have a nucleus, But the words do mean first and nucleus. It doesn't completely make sense, but when you think about it evolutionarily, first without a nucleus. Autotroph, what does that mean?
It means self-nourishing.
Self-nourishing. That's in the chapter. Because bacteria, there are autotroph bacteria. What does chemoheterotroph mean? Nourishment by some other form of chemical. So they use chemicals to feed themselves. They need to eat chemicals of some sort to feed. Photoheterotroph, what does that mean? We have the nourishment there. Do they use light?
Yes.
They use light. But they also have to have some other things as well. So they're not completely a photoautotroph. They're a they use light, and they have to use something other. That's why we have to put the words together. A chemoautotroph is a self-feeder that uses chemicals, like in the hot springs. And I have 2 articles printed on the thermal springs down in the ocean. That's where we find the chemoautotrophs. Questions on the front page. These are all vocab words you're going to see in this chapter. That once you get the pieces and parts, you don't need to use the glossary anymore. Any questions on the front? We'll turn to the back. Okay.
Wait.
So we have ancient bacteria, we have true bacteria.
Are we just doing the meaning of the word parts? I know it's cold in here.
I gave you space to write out a longer definition.
But like right now, like, are we just writing out?
Right now we're focusing on what the word parts mean, so that we have a huge hint to what it scientifically means. When you get to the test, you're not going to be able to have the glossary. The autotroph, chemoheterotroph, photoautotroph, chemoautotroph, those are all in like 6 sentences on 1 page. And then you have to be able to keep them straight. You got to use the word to help you. Once you know the parts of the words, then you got it. Because they're all feeding styles for bacteria. Corbin, does this make sense? Words going together? Give you the definition. Josh, got it? The Brittany's in the back. Is this making sense on the front? Put word parts together to get a meaning. Bethany, Brittany. I'm still learning. If you would put a bracket around the autotroph, chemoheterotroph, photoautotroph, and chemoautotroph, those words go together. Those are nutritional styles. And so when you get to the test and you have multiple choice, those are probably going to be answers you have to be able to separate. On the back, we have obligate aerobe and obligate anaerobe. Obligate means requiring. The AER means air. So what do we know about that type of organism? It requires oxygen. Hi, Brandon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. Obligate anaerobe, but AN is in front of that. That means not. So now we know that it's not requiring air. And obligate anaerobes, that's a respiration feature of bacteria, they absolutely do not use oxygen. In fact, many of them die if they have oxygen.
Can you please turn it up?
Which one's not? The first one or second one?
It's so cold in here.
Here we go. Endospore, where would we find that spore? Internal. We would find that internal. Versus an exospore, where would we find that? External. We're going to get to the word binary fission. So binary is telling us there's how many? 2. Okay, side means to kill. So what kind of an agent is a bactericide? It kills bacteria. There are some antibiotics that kill bacteria. It actually kills it. Static means that it goes into stasis. So something that is bacteriostatic, is it going to kill it? No. It's just going to inhibit it. So it's still around, and those particular type of drugs get it to where your body takes care of it. It doesn't kill the organism, but it slows it down so your body can take care of it. Viricide, what does that do? If you read that on the Lysol, that it was a viricide, it would kill the virus. What does retro mean from the front? Reverse. So what do you think that virus is doing? Its replication is in reverse. That's HIV. It gets in, it's an RNA virus, and it makes DNA by going backwards. Antibiotics, what does that break down into? Against. The word itself means against life, bio being life. We know it's against bacteria. Antibiotics are against bacteria. Antiviral agents are against viruses. Where would we find an endotoxin? Internal. Exotoxin? External. Pertussis makes a exotoxin. Endoparasitic, what kind of infection is that? It's an internal infection like tapeworm. Exoparasitic, where is that at? External, like a tick, or leeches, or things that attach on the outside of fish. Those are parasites on the outside. Any questions on those words? There are a lot of scientific words that you build this way. That once you know some base things, like cardio. How many words can we make with cardio? Cardiac, cardiology, cardiovascular, cardiac unit. We keep going. Digest, digestion, digestive, digestible. We keep going. Once we know the one part of the word, we keep adding things on the front and adding things onto the back and give them meaning. All right, so between now and the bell, I want you to make 10 words of your own. Scientific, biological. You can use your body systems information. I got asked a question if the excretory system is the same thing as the urinary system. Well, you've got a base word, excrete, in there. And you can add a lot of things to that. All right? And then I'll have you turn it in. And we reviewed your vocabulary for that chapter that we're headed into.